What'd you say you about to do now?
I'm gonna mount the wing. I need to pull off the front flares, the front bumper, the headlights, and once the wing is actually mounted and I know it's exactly.
Take everything off. Sounding grumpy. So what are you gonna be doing to your car?
Me?
Yeah, we just left him with a cliffhanger before we could tell him.
Painting it. Somebody broke my passenger window, tried to rob me.
Dang. Catch
And
me.
it's a week out, so I figure I might as well repaint the car. Even though that doesn't make any sense at all, that I'm gonna repaint my car because someone broke my window. But it was something that I wanted to do anyway, because my front bumper got bubbles in it, so I gotta repaint that. The flares don't match the body perfectly, and it bothers me, so I gotta repaint those. And then I got a new rear bumper, so I gotta repaint that, and I figured—
You got new flares.
I got new front flares. They'll be here Tuesday. I'm doing the crown carbon crafting, 50 millimeter fronts. So they'll be 10 millimeters wider than the Rocket Bunnies on there now. But the reason that I'm switching to those is because of Rocket Bunny, it raises— actually, let me show you.
I said your car is right here. Let's just show them this.
Well, you can't tell where the factory fender would be, but the factory fender would probably sit somewhere around here. So really my front is slammed, but the Rocket Bunny makes it look really high. And then also it could use 10 millimeters of width to actually cover up.
I mean, not just that, the qualities are just shit from the company.
Yeah, they were shitty flares in the first place, but I mean, I guess they kind of did the job, even though I only went to one event with these flares on. But
do you want to tell them what color you going, or do you want to just wait till you pull it in the booth?
how about I'll send somebody a free shirt if you can guess the actual color. You can give me paint code or the name of the color. No one will guess what it is.
I think they're pretty wide.
How's your visibility?
Good. I mean, not good. It's never good in a 350 or a 370, but that doesn't make it any worse.
Pretty sure it's better than mine. I got my roll cage.
Probably. Yeah, because I at least have a quarter glass too.
The visibility of the 240Z is actually amazing.
Old Datsun Young 350Z. Old Z. Young Z.
Do you have Allen?
Yeah.
But it does like go right at the back of my rear bumper, which is perfect. Yeah. And it's like perfectly wide enough.
Man, he trying to get his dribble game up.
Trying to hoop. Yeah, I got all the ball control.
Hey! Hold up, man. No homo. You bugging. You want to tell them what the hell did you do?
I removed the front flares because they look terrible. So I got new flares for the front from Crown Carbon and Crafting. Those are the same people that make my rear flare. I don't know what that was. I probably hit a bump while my wheel was at like full lock, but it doesn't matter. It'll get covered up. I'll probably trim it back a little bit more since the new flare covers up like all of this.
I did mine, trimmed as far as I can, close to the hole.
I was trying to keep some like strength here because my bumper bolts in right there.
Oh, okay.
If it was too thin, then this would just be even more wobbly than it is. But I just basically took off the door panels, removed the mirror. I'm gonna keep the doors on, just like how I did it before. So I removed the back flare.
Yeah, it's so crazy just seeing how it looked under the flare. And to white, it's just
Super dirty.
I know.
And I was marking some spots that need body work. This is where my old hood strut it would pop off the ball. So I removed the rear bumper. I'm gonna be removing that diffuser. I have a new rear bumper. I took the wing back off. More spots I need to do a little bit of body work on.
I seen it on.
Well,
maybe y'all did.
I took the wing off.
Actually, y'all did.
I just need to pull these flares off, do the body work. We'll finish the body work today.
You want to give them like tips and methods that you do?
I'll do that as we go. When I start mixing up the mud, I'll try to.
So there you go for the people that want to see.
Informational.
Tutorial people that want to learn. This is basically what he does every day. So we're going to try to show you what he does every day on basically his own car today. Because there's nothing exciting here to show the normal work day. Dude, it's too hot.
You like the Amazon Prime end plates?
It's how you innovative.
I think I'm gonna make them kind of square like that. I like the square look. I might do a slight angle here, but I'm gonna keep it mostly square.
I guess, what are you doing now?
I'm trying to make sure that this lines up perfectly with the hood. So I drew a little line on it. You can see that the hood was laying right on the top of this edge. So this fitment is good. This, you can see the edge is here. So this needs to move about like a 1/4 of an inch in.
Is it a rub mark?
Yeah, so you can see that the hood's sitting here. I want it to sit here. Top of this usually has just clips in it. If anybody knows about 350Z bumpers, it's just a clip. But I switched it to nuts and bolts so I could like have adjustment in it since it's an aftermarket bumper. So like this doesn't have enough adjustment for me to move the bumper back enough, because this is as far back as it'll allow it to go. So I'm gonna have to ream this out with a Dremel so I can move the bumper back that 1/4 inch to get that fitment on the hood. And then you can see this whole side. It doesn't need to move back as far as this side, but both of these are gonna need to be reamed out and slightly slid back. And the reason I'm doing that now is because once I get this edge straight, then I'll know how I do the body work for it. Like, so I'll know that that's straight, and then all I need to do is maybe 2 skims of flexible filler on the front of this, just to make it a little bit better. All right, so I'm gonna sand this down and then try to get this line a little straighter, and then I'll do maybe 1 or 2 coats of flexible filler on it, sand out these bubbles. Somebody hit me in a parking lot, so I have some spider cracks. I gotta sand all those out. I'm gonna leave the headlights and the front bumper on because I forgot I gotta fit up the flares, and the flares will attach to my front bumper also. So I'm gonna need that still on.
All right, come on, let's do the fun stuff. Hold up, take a second to show my young protege with them creative angles. You got it clip under the. Go over with your bad self.
This is the body filler that I'm going to use on the front bumper, Evercoat Polyflex. If you want to use it, I haven't really tried that many because I've never really had a problem with this. The weird thing with bumper top coat though is it doesn't ever like fully harden. So usually you're gonna gum up like 1 sandpaper when you first start sanding it. But it doesn't harden up because it stays flexible. So like if you tap stuff with your bumper, regular body filler, it would just crack. So you want it to flex with the bumper. I definitely need more than this. And then when you're doing hardener, you basically just do a line from edge to edge. Like so 1 line across and you'll be fine. You can play with hardener, do less or more, depending on like what temperature it is outside, depending on the body filler that you're using. But right now it's like 100 degrees. So this is gonna harden up really fast because the hardener actually heats up the body filler until, like I guess that's like the chemical, I don't even know. Like the combination of them that makes it hard. Usually on my first skim, I'll use an old spreader. I like these spreaders, they're nice and flexible. I don't really use much else. I don't even use wide spreaders on like flat surfaces. I know a lot of people like to do that. But I basically just break off the old mud, first skim, use an old one, and then on my final skim, then I'll use a new one. Because I wanna make sure that the edge is perfectly straight. Like you look at these, after you skim them a couple times, they start to get a slight bow, like cause you're gonna be doing it a lot like this to try to like taper your edges. So then you get a new one on your last skim. But for this, it'll be fine with an old spreader because this isn't going to be my only coat. There'll be probably 2, maybe 3. Like that is funny. I didn't really make it across, but you really have a lot of room to play with how much hardener you put in it. I almost have never had a problem putting too much or too little hardener. So basically, when I'm done skimming, I like to scoop up as much of the remaining filler on the spreader, because then when this hardens up, this will all come off in like a big chunk. Whereas like, if you have small pieces like this, you're gonna be scraping for a while. So it just helps you with the cleanliness of your spreader. So now I'll be able to break this off and use this spreader again. Save your spreaders. Sundays is my cheat days.
We're gonna eat some Omega, some stuff Greg found online. What flavor you get?
Blueberry, 14 grams of protein, and omega-3s. Gluten-free, non-GMO, 7 grams of fiber, only 5 grams of sugar, grass-fed whey protein bar.
This is not a sponsored video. This is just something that we're doing on the side because it was interesting and they're bomb.
Every single one I've had is delicious. Vanilla almond might be my favorite though. Just because it's like, this, I couldn't eat this every day. That is like not so flavorful that I don't think you'd get sick of it that easily. You gonna try yours?
How the hell am I trying now? I was still setting up. See if there's vanilla almond.
So good. Kind of bland, but you can taste the vanilla and the almond. Fire.
Not bad.
Get your oat mega bars. I got mine on Amazon. I'm about to sand the body filler. It's still a little tacky, but it will always stay tacky since it's flexible filler. I put a fresh piece of 80 grit on the sander. Just keep the DA flat, go diagonal. When I start seeing the under layers, I'll stop, and then it'll kind of give me like a reference of what's low. So like if I have the black from the bumper material showing through, like in a spot here, I'll stop sanding there because I know that that is like, that's where I want to stop. So if there's filler around that, then that means that that might be low, or it could be flat, but I'll show you once it's sanded, it'll make more sense how to tell what's high and what's low. Mixing up. Are you recording? Are you? Yeah. So I'm gonna put my second coat on. You can see right here I made lines. Right there and right there. I know that this is low. So basically I know when to stop when it starts burning through here. You can see this is the actual bumper. You can see up here, this is where the old filler is. I don't want to take too much of that out, but I want it to be smooth with this. So once this started to get a nice taper, I stopped sanding there. You can see right here, I didn't want to sand this out anymore and make it any lower. So you keep the DA flat, you'll find spots like that. So like, I know that all of this is low. This is all tapered out nicely with this. Like this transition right here is nice. And like this looks really good. So I'm gonna put a skim just in this area. Try to do a slight blend here and then get it a little bit thicker in there and then blend out there. And then after that's sanded, as long as it doesn't need another skim in this low spot, then I like to do one full skim over the entire thing again and just barely have this showing through. Like where you can kind of see in here, it's like slightly darker, but there's still body filler over top of it. You can see it's kind of, like you can see it's close to the bumper, but it's not quite there. That's how I like to leave it on my last skim. And then I'll go back over it with 180 and then do a coat of primer slightly wider than the deepest scratches. Just ate a bunch of body filler. So it looks like it just ate a bunch of body filler. So the front bumper's all done. Finally. Took way longer than I thought it would. For some reason, every single time I skimmed it, I guess when the body filler got hot, it would start to warp the bumper again through the middle. So I ended up having to do like a bunch of smaller coats, and I'm just gonna say don't buy a KBD bumper. Didn't really fit that well in the first place. And it came folded up in thirds, and they said, oh, it'll just pop out back to its normal shape. That never happened. It took me like a whole day of heating it up to get it back to like the shape that it's supposed to be. And it's a super thick material. It's super, like this is literally this thick. Right here, this corner.
Oh,
That's
hell
thick.
no.
Yeah. But now that we wasted the whole day on the front bumper, we're just gonna knock these out super fast. This, few small dings. I'll probably just tape off this handle. I'm not even gonna take the handles off. That'll probably be one skim of top coat. This is actually just a drip, so I'll be able to just sand that out. Sand out this little bubble. That'll probably just be a top coat also. I got this little outward dent right here. This will also just be a top coat. So this should only take 30 minutes. Since I'm doing all regular body filler now, I'll mix up one time and I'll spread every single one in the one coat and then be done. All right, so now since we're just doing one top coat on all those small dents that I have, I'm gonna use the Evercoat metal glaze. You can use this on just sanded surfaces. So I just sanded down the spots with 120. Do the same exact process as the bumper top coat. And I use a new spreader on this just because if I can get away with it, it's only gonna be one skim. So I want it to be as perfect as I can. Is this already starting to harden up?
Well, while Greg does this, I would like to once again announce August 4th, save the date. We're gonna be hosting a car meet at our shop. Still gotta get the time to make the flyers and make all the official stuff to make it look legit, but just know it's gonna happen. So what's the reason for using the block?
I mean, it's just an intricate spot. This is so low. I couldn't even put the DA up on an angle to make that same line. It's just easier and takes less out with the block, so I can be more like detailed with it.
All right, update 6:02, July 1st, 2018. Still at the shop, literally melting before our eyes because it's so hot. I don't know how many degrees, but it has to be in the triple digits, humid. Now Greg's closing the door. Good Lord, we're about to die.
All right, so we're all done the body work. That was easy. Just gonna prime it up tomorrow, or Tuesday. That's basically it. Trying to get it painted by next weekend. Just gotta smooth out some of these edges I cut out.
Yeah, please.
We'll be back recording on Tuesday. Get my front flares in.
He gets his flares Tuesday. Hopefully this video's out by like Friday. So if you're seeing this right now, it is Sunday. But regardless,
July 1st.
like, comment, subscribe.
Hope
Comment.
you had a good July 4th.
Yeah.
This will be out after.
I got a booger in my nose.
Dude, it
Shit.
should come out on July 4th. Everyone's gonna be off.
All right.
Enjoy the fireworks. You got a few hours.